Hello, I'm Becky and this is Fuzz and you're listening to the Hope and Mum and Dad podcast. This is episode 36 and we're going to talk to you about starting our first cycle of IVF and the medication and injection training that we had
and the car parking in Port Talbot.
Which is so good.
Plentiful.
Yeah. So since the last episode, I mean, we're talking historically, but since the last episode and the things that went on then, we had our screening tests for our bloods because they'd lapsed, and you have to have them fresh within 6 months of having your first cycle.
Which is kind of, it makes you really think, like, this whole stuff takes forever.
Really does take a long time.
Most time, you know, if a test that's good for 6 months lapses, and we're lucky we've only had to do 2.
Yeah.
There's probably people that are like
doing more and more.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had that. They all came back clear. We had to go to the Heath Hospital for that in Cardiff. And then following that,
Hospital.
Following that, we then went to Neath, Port Talbot Hospital, to have our medication and injection training.
Just to recap. Heath. Neath.
Why are you finding that so funny?
Because you're hilarious. You don't even realise it.
Yeah, so do you remember going? Do you remember having...
Heath.
No, Neath for the injection training.
No, not really.
She showed us all these like different boxes of medication, the tiny vials that the medication comes in, and how that you prepare the different injections, because some of them come pre-prepared, but lots of them don't.
Becky was there putting like a sugar rim around one of the pots. Just setting on fire.
So they show you the Sharps box that you get. They show you the different boxes and everything. I'm doing my hands for anyone not watching.
I'm not really doing much. So.
Mm-hmm. And that was interesting. It was overwhelming, the information. And we were like, can we film you doing this? And they wouldn't allow that.
Absolutely not.
But they do give you these leaflets with QR codes that you can scan. And I think you can...
Did you ask? Are you serious? Like, I don't remember asking if you could film them doing it.
Yeah, I think so. And we also... I've forgotten my train of thought.
We were asking them about injections. It was overwhelming. They said, this is how you do it, blah, blah, blah. And then we were like, can you show us again? And they did it differently. And we were like, which one's the right one?
Yeah.
And they were like...
So that was useful. They do it all on like a tiny little dummy piece of skin.
That sounds bad. It wasn't that bad. It was like, you know, like when you pick up a pen the wrong way or something and it's upside down. But we were so like wired. Yeah. We were like, that's not right.
On this tiny dummy piece of skin, which is literally, I don't know, smaller than a regular envelope.
Smaller than a pizza.
And about this big.
Smaller than a pizza, larger than a stamp.
It's way smaller than a pizza. Anyway, they show you to pinch an inch of skin and inject yourself there. They show you the different types of syringes. So there's different type of syringe needle to prepare the injection with the solution, and a different kind of needle to actually inject yourself. So they talk to you about the different colours and the different things that go together.
Some of them are solutions and that as well, aren't they?
Yeah, it's a lot. Some of them come pre-packed and some of them don't. So you have to mix them all up and you feel like a scientist. And because we've done this all, we're filming this all in post, there's actually highlights and not reels, but highlights and clips of me doing that on our Instagram page. So
don't
you can
read
go
too
back
much
and
into it. All the information's coming out in order.
Yeah.
But that would only affect people that have actually already been following and have seen some stories.
What I would say to everyone though is it is overwhelming, but it's not too bad, and the clinic are always there if you need to ask or ring them for questions that need to be answered. And there is a lot on YouTube of medical videos from the NHS explaining to you how to prepare the injections and how to administer them.
They wrote down everything you needed to do when you needed to do it. And it was just written down easy. So
it was quite scary as well, kind of like going through it, thinking about injecting yourself. Because, you know, if you do get it wrong, it's a bit of a worry, like, will everything work following this? But it was okay in the end. We came out, I
found it quite tough, but I don't know. Somehow, Becky, you were okay with it.
We found, I'm
joking because I didn't do anything. I literally just...
We went down to the pharmacy in the hospital to collect all the things, and they give you everything. It's so much stuff. They give it you all in like a gift bag, so you feel like you've just got a present, which you're really excited about it anyway, because it's something super exciting that's happening.
But yeah, Becky was like, oh wow, they're treating us like, you know, it's like a day out in Harrods or whatever. And Harrods is like a posh shop that does nice bags, I think.
I think most people know.
But some people in America and stuff might not know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I said, oh, because there's lots of needles and sharps and stuff, and I said, oh, do you give all the needles and everything out in these disguised bags because people might want them and it's like a higher risk thing? And they were like, no, you're a weirdo. What are you saying that for? And I was like,
they were like,
okay.
He's interested in drugs. No.
I'm aware of it. Like,
yeah, you're just aware of the dangers.
I don't know, but you'd think they're free for people that want needles. They should be able to get them for free.
Yeah, but I guess they don't.
I remember going somewhere up north randomly, which is probably why I thought about it, but like, I went to a fast food restaurant up north and they had all the lights in the bathroom were blue. And I've never seen that ever. I've like lived in South Wales, I've been out in London, different parts of the north, lived in South Korea, been to America. Never ever have I seen just complete blue lights everywhere. And I said, and I was like, oh, why have you got all the blue lights in the toilet? And the woman looked at me like as if I was special.
Obviously it's for the
But then realised I was like, yeah. And she was like, yeah, it's to stop people, you know, shooting up.
Yeah. So that was like a really big deal, that appointment, because obviously we got our medication, we were trained how to use it, and it was kind of like a waiting game then. So following that, we were able to start...
So we were waiting just to... Because I'm kind of going through the same experience as the listeners. Because
no, you're not.
I can't remember... But I can't remember it in as vivid detail as you.
Yeah.
So
that was the 20th of May.
Yeah, and then we were waiting for...
Day 21 of my
scans
cycle.
And follicles and stuff.
We had to wait for... We got the medication, it was in the house, all ready to go. Lots of it, FYI, you need to store in the fridge. So make sure you've got a nice,
and you got to make sure
clean,
your fridge is good.
Fridge. Yeah.
So I put in a thermometer in the fridge, which we did.
Yeah, just to make sure it's the right temperature. And then we had to wait for day 21.
I hate our fridge, by the way. I got to tell people this, I really do, because you guys break it up. But our fridge is the wrong way around. It's the freezer on top, the fridge on the bottom, and you have to get on your hands and knees to get anything out of the bottom.
He's being dramatic, not your hands and knees.
I hate it. You do, because it's like there's broccoli in there from like 1974. Like, it's just at the back.
We haven't even had the fridge that long.
That's
you went alive
license. Then? Yeah, exactly. Anyway,
yeah.
New fridge.
Yeah, one day we'll get a new fridge. So we were waiting for day 21 of the cycle to start the norethicirone, which is those tablets I've talked about before to take control of your cycle. So we started doing that, and then we did that for as many days as they told us, and then finally we got day 1 of my cycle. So I stopped taking them. It took about 2 to 3 days after stopping taking them for the bleed to arrive, and then I had to phone the clinic. On day 1, we went for COVID swabs and we started the process. We started injecting on day 2 of my cycle following the COVID swabs. They don't tell you whether they're good or bad, the COVID swabs. I guess they'd phone you up and say, oh, actually you've got COVID, the cycle's cancelled. But if you haven't got COVID, you just don't hear from them. So
I wonder how...
We were lucky we didn't hear from them.
But I wonder, like, if you get COVID and it was mild, then it could have, and you did get COVID, the IVF cycle could have gone ahead okay.
It couldn't,
but they
because you have to get scanned on day 8 and all the other days in between, and have another COVID swab, so that it would never be able to go ahead because you need to go back to the clinic to be monitored.
It's really messed things up. Like.
Yeah, so I was super nervous about starting the injections on cycle day 2 after we'd had the COVID swab. We decided that I would take them on my own and inject myself rather than Fuzz doing them.
Because I kind of...
Becky
was like, oh, why didn't you be... And I was like, in my head, I don't know, because I'm so aware of like how it's a complete unknown, right? Everyone gets excited at times and then they also get pessimistic at times and stuff. I'm trying to treat it. I'm trying to just take myself away from it and not get like, ooh, let's do it together. It'd be a special moment. It's like, it's a thing. It's like drinking a glass of water or taking a pill in my head, which is really pessimistic, so you don't have to be like me, but this is just the way that I am. Becky was like, oh, do you want to do it with me? And he'd be like all special and stuff. And I'm kind of like, and I said, no, because I don't want to mess it up.
Yeah.
And you're more than capable of doing it on your own. And I didn't want to like put a downer on you. I didn't want to put a downer on it for you and be like, don't get excited and all this stuff. I didn't say anything like that, but for me, I just wanted to be like, yeah, we're just keeping our head down, doing what we've been told to do, not getting carried away, not getting too excited.
Yeah, I think I would have liked you to have done some with me. I was happy doing most of it. But when I think about it, if you'd have actually done it and I was like pinching my skin waiting for you to come, I feel like I would have backed away.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're doing it yourself, you have control, so you just know. And it definitely gets easier.
And what if I messed one up and then it was like the weekend and we couldn't get one from the pharmacy? And,
yeah, I started by icing my skin so that I wouldn't feel it, you know, to numb my skin a little bit. So that's how I started doing it, with an ice pack. But I mean, after 2 or 3 days, I was just pinching my skin and stabbing myself with no second thought. It just becomes like really easy. Although I would say, even though I was doing it every day, there were a few times when I did things in slightly the wrong order or used the wrong needle and wasted a couple of them, which was a bit stressful, but everything worked out. It was fine. And we've done, like I said in the last episode, quite a few videos, just little quick ones.
There's lots of stuff floating around. I'm just looking because we're on a different studio. I've got to just randomly check things are still running.
Check we're still recording. Yeah, so it gets a lot easier. And what I would say, just tips and tricks. I mean, you can ice it if you want to numb the area, although I didn't find that it helped much. There's the different kind of injections or medications have different reactions. So the Mariofert was no problem. Obviously, you start kind of getting little bits of bruising depending on your skin type and what you like. You're meant to take one on one side and then the next day take it the opposite side. But if you're injecting 2 on one day, you do it the same side. Yeah, just you have to just like trial and error it. Maybe ice your skin. Don't try it with, try it without.
It'll be fine wherever you.
And if you're really nervous about it, just like try and have a shake it off, or like play some music that makes you feel happy and like less worried. And then always celebrate it after. Like, yeah, I just did it. I'm amazing. And maybe get some, I don't know, have a high five or a hug, or
chocolate bar.
Have a chocolate bar or a piece of chocolate. I don't know. Do something that will make you feel happy. Whether it's like walking the dog or reading a book. I don't know. You just need to treat yourself because it's amazing that you just did that. And I know that lots of people deprive themselves in the IVF cycles because they're being super healthy and, you know.
A chocolate bar's not going to hurt you.
No, super healthy. But if you do it for 8 days straight and have chocolate every day, whole chocolate bar, that might be too much. So sometimes people have like, get a box of chocolates and have one. I don't know.
What? That's up to them, and we're not doctors, so don't listen
or
to us.
Nutritionists.
I would guess, in our circumstance, if I saw Becky eating a chocolate bar, I wouldn't be like running over and slapping her hand.
Yeah, well, I can't remember what I did, but it, like I said, it just became it became second nature. And I remember there were a couple of times where I nearly forgot to do it, or I was a bit late doing it. So I definitely would say it's really important to set an alarm on your phone so you remember. There was only
what
one.
I would suggest, if it was me, because I'm different to you, is I'd get a piece of paper and I'd write out each bit you gotta do.
Yeah.
With a square next to it. And then stick it on the wall, and then once you've done it, you tick the box.
The clinic give you a chart like that to tell you what to do and what to.
It's a paper you're scared to make rough and stuff because they give it to you. I just make my own.
Mine's messy and scribbly because they give it to you. So why make work for yourself? Use what they give you, and yeah, if you have to take it out and about and do it on the road or while you're away,
it has to be refrigerated.
Yeah, just make sure you've got ice packs and stuff. Not all of it. It depends on the type of injection and medication you have.
It's not a big deal. So you just plan around it.
There was only one we had to do while we were away, and that's when, because this was like the beginning of wedding season, so a big deal for Fuzz because he's a wedding photographer. So we were about to do a wedding and we went to stay with our friend Geraldine.
And if you're getting married, you can hire myself and Becky to photograph and video your wedding. That would help us.
So while we were away, Geraldine was up for doing an injection. I was on 2 injections a day by then. So I did one and showed her, and she did the second one. And that was cool. She really found that fun. She enjoyed stabbing me with a needle. So yeah, We'd started the Merry Effect, and then by the 7th of June we had our first scan, checking out the follicles. They all said that they looked like they were doing well, that everything was like going the right way, so to continue with what I was doing. They told me when, at that point, what date to start the Cetrotide, and then I was called back 2 days later to have another scan.
To check your
to check my follicles again one more time. At this scan, they could see that more were there and everything was going well, and they just said that they decided they'd want to do another one. So I ended up having 3 scans. I think it's common to have 2, but they sometimes do 3. They weren't going to up my medication. They carried on with everything as it was, and they just reminded me to take 2 to 3 litres of water a day, because you have to be careful that OHSS is where you have where your ovaries get too big. So I guess like having a high protein diet at the time and making sure you drink plenty of water helps reduce that risk, I think, and just keeps everything ticking over nicely. So we went back on the 11th of June for the 3rd and final scan, where they said they could see 7 to 8 mature eggs in my follicles. No, 7 to 8 mature follicles, not eggs. So when
each follicle could have an egg.
Yeah, each follicle that they see could have an egg in it. They can't say whether the egg would be mature or not, but they could see 7 to 8 mature follicles. So we were like, oh, great, like maybe we'll have 7 to 8 eggs. They also said, because I would be doing it for a couple more days, carrying on with the medication, that there might be more follicles once they do egg collection, but they can't say. But they said there were definitely 7 to 8 mature ones, so we were like quite pleased with that. I think from numbers you hear on Instagram and online, 7 to 8 mature ones doesn't sound like a lot, so don't be like spun out by the number of eggs or follicles.
We'll go
or
on to
else
that in a minute, because it's like, yeah, they're all viable in different ways, and
yeah, so
like, you could have 20 eggs and it could all be not very good,
yeah,
which is terrible. But we're only saying that to people who might be going through it, and you might have a low number.
Yeah,
or
don't let it get you down.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, because
Yeah.
you only need one.
So that final scan, they said it would be the final one. They booked me in for egg collection, and they told me to take my trigger shot on the 12th of June, I think, at 9:30 in the evening. And this one is super time specific, so you have to make sure that you do that one right. Although I was shitting myself, excuse the French, but I couldn't. This trigger injection is completely different to all the other ones that you have. It was a pre-loaded one that I'd kept in the fridge, so I didn't need to prepare it in any way, but the nozzle was really different to, like, there was no nozzles on the other, because they were all ones I had to prepare myself, and I couldn't undo it. So it was like, I don't know, 9:28, and I couldn't get it off, and I was worried that if I got it off I'd snap it. So it was a really stressful.
That's one thing that they could have had. They could have had a dummy one to show you.
It was a bit much.
Did you phone them?
I didn't phone them. It was 9:30 in the evening. They wouldn't have been there. But I got it off in the end. I think I panicked, phoned my mum, was on the phone to her, like, I don't know what to do. I was even showing her, and eventually I got it off. And I got it out and stuck it in my belly, and it was fine. And then we just had to wait a few days for, no, maybe it was the next day, I can't remember, egg collection. I think that ended up being the 16th of June. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and check my notes.
Yeah, we're trying to recap everything, because like we said, things have been a bit crazy or whatever, but yeah, and all this time it's just horrible waiting in between.
Here you go. It was 2 days later, the 14th of June was my egg
I remember
collection.
just waiting though and thinking, just because you like, I was like, oh, don't fall over, don't trip up, don't do this.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really help.
I think as well,
your normal life.
Once you've pulled the trigger, you don't take any more injections. So I had 1 day without any injections, and then the 14th was egg collection. And it's quite nerve-wracking. Well, it was for me, because I've never had any procedures at all. Apart from breaking my arm, I've never had to go to hospital for anything, and that wasn't that serious. So I didn't have to be an inpatient or stay overnight. And obviously you don't when you have egg collection usually. So I was a bit apprehensive. But, you know, I stayed positive and like went ahead with an open mind. And that we'll tell you more about that in the next episode, because I think that's the next big thing that happened, having the egg collection and finding out from the embryologist.
Yeah, but the whole giving the injections and waiting for egg collection is like a pain.
Yeah. Do you think I did a good job anyway?
Yeah, you've done your injections.
Yeah, like I said, you can go and see on Instagram some of the videos, which are proper cringe, by the way. It's not easy, like, talking to film and camera, but we hope that...
Were they all done off your phone?
No, they were done on camera like this.
Oh, so we might even post
Yeah, I hope they're not too cringy, because the reason we're doing all of this is just
so that you can see people who are going through it can have a bit of an idea of what's going to happen.
And what it's like and how you might feel.
And if you don't need to go through it, you just might
totally normal to feel nervous, totally normal to feel apprehensive,
totally normal to be like me and be like nervous and worried sometimes, but then
totally chill.
It's just
also normal to be excited. It is an exciting thing. Although it does annoy people sometimes when people say, "Ooh, exciting," but
it annoys people. It annoys people that you get excited about stuff. It annoys people that you get negative about stuff. It annoys people when other people everything's annoying.
You can't keep everyone happy all the time, but the main thing when you're going through this process is that you are keeping yourself happy, and if you have a partner that you're going through it with as well, that they're happy too, and that you're just talking to each other openly, and that you're supporting each other however you do that. I mean, Fuzz was so good. Like, he would make dinner all the time, and
I make dinner all the time anyway.
Yeah, you do, but you ran me baths and you
I do
help me put my feet up.
That kind of stuff a lot. Anyway.
You do, but I mean, like,
so
you were
extra
sensitive.
Normal, I think.
No, you were extra sensitive and nice during that time, which was good because you were busy because it was wedding season. So, thanks for that. Yeah, so we'll talk to you a bit more about egg collection.
Next
episode.
Egg collection.
Yeah, we'll see you later.